Hi guys, welcome to my channel. I'm John. Today I'm going to share with you how to make this procedural stylized tree in Blender 3.1 using geometry nodes fill workflow. First, we are going to start from the trunk. So to do this, we need to draw the curved line as the basic shape for the trunk. So in the 3D viewport, let's select the cube, go into edit mode, press M and merge all the points at center. Press numpad 1 to see the front view. And now we can start to draw the line. Just press E to extrude it. Okay, then exit the edit mode, name it Procedural Tree. We can delete the camera and light for now. Split the screen and go to Geometry Node Editor. Add a new Geometry Node. And now let's add a subdivision surface. Then we need to convert the mesh to curve. Then we need to turn the curve to mesh. Add a curve circle for the profile curve. Decrease the resolution to 5. Decrease the radius smaller. And now I want to make the trunk to become this spiral shape. So to do it, we need to duplicate another curve circle. Add a join geometry before the profile curve. So to duplicate the circle, we need to add a transform node and connect it to join geometry. And now, two of the circle is overlapped together. We need to move one of the circle towards negative x-axis and another one to positive x-axis. So to do this, let's add a combine xyz, duplicate another one and connect both of them to the translate input. Then select the transform node and press Ctrl H to hide everything that not in use. Add value and connect it to both of the x-axis. Then we need to take this value to multiply -1 to flip the position for one of the circle. And now to make the trunk to become this spiral shape, we need to add a set curve tilt before the curve to mesh node. Add a spline parameter. Take the length and connect it to tilt. Then multiply the length to get the result we want. I think we can add a subdivide mesh before the group output. Increase the level to 2 so that it looks better. Then I want to reshape the trunk. I want to make the bottom part to be thicker and the upper part to be thinner. So to do this, let's add a set curve radius before the curve to mesh node. Let's duplicate this spline parameter and connect the factor to the radius. Add a float curve. Increase the maximum Y to 2. Reset the view. Adjust the shape you want. Okay, now we have done the trunk. So before we go to the next section, let's tidy up the nodes. So let's frame this and name it basic shape. Frame 3 of this node and name it spiral. Frame 3 of this node and name it set curve radius. Frame all this node and name it curve to mesh. Frame all of the node and name it trunk. Okay, now we can start to make the branch. So to make the branch, all we need to do is to repeat this shape on a Bezier curve line. In the 3D viewport, add a Bezier curve. Name it basic shape for branch. Rotate it 90 degrees. Go into edit mode. Select this point at the bottom. Press Shift S and select cursor to selected. Go to Object and set origin to 3D cursor. We can hide it for now. Drag it into the geometry node editor. Connect the geometry to group output. Okay, now we need to add a quadratic bezier and clone on this curve line. So let's add a join geometry. Add an instance on point node and connect it to join geometry. Add a quadratic bezier. Connect the quadratic bezier to the instance on point node. Then connect this geometry to the points. Let's reduce this to 0. You can play around with the value for middle and end. Just don't touch the start point. We need to make sure the starting point is remain all 0. Then I want to add more points on this bezier curve. So let's hold shift and hold right click. Then drag your mouse to tie two of this line. Then add a resample curve. Let's increase the points to 16 maybe. Okay, now I want to delete some of the points at the end here. So to do it, let's add a delete geometry before the instance on point node. Now we need to select the point that we want to delete. So let's add an index node and connect it to the selection. Add a math node. Change the function to greater than. Adjust this amount to select the point that we want to delete. Okay, now I want to randomize the instance. I want the quadratic bezier to clone on some points and ignore some of the points. So to do this, let's add a random value. Change the data type to boolean. Connect it to the selection. So now if you need more branch for the tree, you can adjust this probability to 1. If you want less, you can put a smaller value. But now I want to leave it 1. We can come back and adjust this later. Okay, now I want all the smile here to rotate and grow out along the normal of the main curve line. Okay, then I want to scale the branch from big to small. So to do this, we need to add a spline parameter. Then we can add a float curve to control the size. Okay, now let's tidy up the node. Frame all this node and name it delete points. Frame 2 of this, name it branch basic shape. Frame this. Let's name it clone the branch 1. Okay, then I want to duplicate this branch to the another side. So to do this, press Ctrl Shift D to duplicate all these nodes. Connect this instance to the join geometry. Then let's rename this clone the branch 2. Now go to the align Euler to vector. Change the factor from 1 to -1. Okay, then we can adjust this value to get the shape we want. Just make sure the value for starting point is remain 0. I think we can play with this random value as well. Okay, now I want to clone a lot more branch on this branch. So to do it, let's duplicate this join geometry and put it below. Connect two of this instance to the new join geometry. Duplicate the entire clone the branch section. Connect join geometry to points. Then let's name this clone the branch 3. Let's move this join geometry to here. Connect this join geometry to join geometry. Duplicate the join geometry and put below it. Connect instance to the new join geometry. Connect join geometry to join geometry. Okay, now I want to reduce the amount of the branch. So let's add a resample curve before the points. Let's reduce it to 6. Let's play with this random value as well. We can make this branch smaller. Then again, play with this to get the shape we want. Okay, again, select the entire clone the branch section and press Ctrl Shift D to duplicate it again. Rename this clone the branch 4. Connect it to the join geometry before the group output. Then go to the align Euler to vector. Change this to y-axis. Then again, let's play with this probability to randomize the instant object. Okay, now we can start to convert curve to mesh. So let's add a curve to mesh node before the group output. Add a curve circle and connect it to profile curve. Decrease the resolution to 6. Then make it smaller. Frame 2 of this node, name it curve to mesh. Okay, now again, I want to make the outer part of the branch become thinner and the inner part become thicker. So let's start from the main curve at the center. Go to the branch basic shape section. Add a set curve radius. Add a spline parameter and connect it to radius. Then add a float curve so that we can control the shape. Okay, now let's adjust the curve to get the shape we want. Then frame 3 of this node, name it set curve radius. Okay, now we need to apply set curve radius for this part as well, which is the clone the branch section for 1 and 2. So duplicate the entire set curve radius section, put it after clone the branch 1 and 2. Okay, then adjust this float curve to get the shape we want. Okay, then duplicate the entire set curve radius section again, put it after the clone the branch 3 and 4. Again, adjust this float curve to get the shape we want. I think we can make it thicker. Let's add a math node after the float curve. Change the function to multiply, adjust the value to make it thicker. Okay, now I want to rotate the branches. I want them to grow outwards. So to do this, let's go to the join geometry after clone the branch 1 and 2. Add rotate instant after the join geometry. Add index and connect it to rotation. Okay, then we only want it to rotate in y-axis. So to further control the rotation, we can add map node to multiply it. Okay, now let's frame all this node. Name it rotate branches. Okay, now in order to make it look natural, I want to distort the line a little bit. So go to the branch basic shape section. Add a set position. Add a noise texture and connect it to offset. Then we only want it to affect the y-axis direction. Add a vector map before combine XYZ. Change the operation to multiply. Add a position node and connect it to vector map node. Play with this value to get the result you want. Okay, then select all these nodes, press Ctrl G to group them, press Tab to go out to parent node 3, then press F2 and rename this distorted line. Okay, now copy it. We need to apply it for the branches 1 and 2 as well. Okay, next we can start to add leaf onto it. Go to the join geometry after the clone the branch 3 and 4. We only want the leaf to clone on 2 of these branches. Add an instant on point node. Connect the join geometry to points. Then we need to append our leaf into Blender. I have included the file in the description below. Please download it and follow along the tutorial. Let's hide it. Drag it into Geometry Node Editor. Connect it to Instant. Then add a join geometry before the group output. Connect the instant on point to the join geometry. Then currently there are too many leaves and I want to reduce it. So let's add a resample curve before the instant on point node. Let's reduce it to 5 maybe. Okay, now I want to increase the size of the leaf as well. Let's add a random value. Let's put 4 for the minimum and 6 for the maximum. Okay, then we need to rotate the leaf. Let's add a curve tangent and connect it to rotation. Then we can add a math node. Change the function to multiply. Adjust the value to rotate it. To make it look better, let's add a vector math node. Add an index node and connect it to vector math node. I think we can increase the maximum size to 8 as well. Now let's frame all these nodes. Name it leaf. Select all these nodes except the group output, frame it and name it branch. Okay, next we need to clone the branch on the trunk. So to do it, disconnect the branch with group output. Move the group output and put it beside the trunk section. Move the entire branch section and put it beside trunk section. Connect the trunk to the group output. Add a join geometry before group output. Okay, now I want to clone the branch to the basic shape of the trunk. So go to the basic shape section. Add an instant on point node. Connect mesh to curve to instant on point. Connect the instance to the join geometry before group output. Connect the join geometry for branch section to the instance. So now we have too many points. Let's add a resample curve to reduce the point. Let's put 34 maybe. And then I want to rotate the branch 90 degrees. Okay, then I want to delete some of the points at the bottom here, like we did for branches just now. Let's add an index node and connect it to selection. Add a math node. Change the function to greater than. Adjust the value to delete some points. Okay, again, we need to rotate the branches. I want to rotate it follow the shape of the curve. Add a line Euler to vector and connect it to rotation. Add a curve tangent and connect it to vector. Change the axis to Z axis maybe. Try increase the factor to 1.65. You can play around with this value to get the result you want. Okay, now I want to rotate it around the trunk. So let's add a rotate instance after the instance on point. Add an index node and connect it to rotation. Then we only want it to rotate in Z axis. Then add a map node. Change the function to multiply. Adjust the value to rotate it. I think we can also try adjust the x-axis to make it looks better. Okay, now I want to scale the branches. I want the bottom part to be smaller and the upper part to be larger. So let's add a spline parameter and connect to scale. Add a float curve. Then adjust the curve to control the shape we want. Okay, now frame all these nodes. Name it clone the branch on the trunk. Okay, next we can start to add material onto it. Okay, let's turn on material preview mode. Select the tree, go to material properties tab, name it trunk. Go to the joint geometry for the branch section. Add a set material before the joint geometry. In the material column, select trunk. Duplicate the set material, put it before the joint geometry for trunk section. Press Alternate P to unframe it. Then in the material tab, change the base color to brown. Okay, now we done it. So if you like my video, please subscribe and see you in the next video. Bye.